Now, looking into the society, nothing is inevitable. That was the, I think, one position taken by Marx. So, relationship between the present and the future need to imply that the future is determined by the present. So, that's a one thesis that future is determined by the present. But then nothing is inevitable. It's not necessarily it's going to happen as if we leave it to it, it's going to come up on its own. So, since social phenomena are constantly acting and reacting, the social world defies a simple deterministic model. Deterministic means everything is, let us say, predetermined. जो पहले चीज़ें आ रही हैं प्रेजेंट में हैं वो ऑटोमेटिकली फ्यूचर को डिटर्मन कर देंगे. These might be, let's say, ingredients, but not necessarily that these cannot be intervened by the circumstances, by the people. Therefore, Marx may be a political possibilist. एक पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है, लेकिन हिस्टोरिकल डिटर्मिनिज्म की तरफ नहीं जा रही, इनएविटेबिलिटी की बात नहीं आ रही. पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है, इनएविटेबिलिटी नहीं हो सकती. सो nothing is predetermined as he is considering. So choose to participate either in the revolutionary reconstruction of society at large or in the common ruin of the contesting classes. So what he is looking into is the class conflict between, let's say, the rich and the poor, and then probably it's going to come up with some kind of change, but that change is not inevitable. The change can be brought through revolutions, or maybe it takes a slow process, and these two classes may continue, let's say, contesting with each other, fighting with each other, and maybe ruining the system as it is. So the future may be based on some contemporary model, but it is not inevitable. So that's the thesis around which the whole thing revolves. So people make choices, but these choices are limited, and these limitations have been imposed by the circumstances, by the system, by the environment. So Marx believed that society was engaged in a class conflict, in some kind of class struggle. So one class is that of the rich people, the other class is of the poor people, and they are probably at each other's throat. Probably their interests are in conflict with each other. So Marx believed that future of society is communism. So capitalism is there. So as part of the capitalism, he came up with these two classes of the rich and the poor. So they conflict with each other. They struggle against each other. But he thought that at the end, it's going to be resolved in the system which he called as communism. But then he also said that communism is going to come, but it is not going to come automatically. It's not inevitable. Efforts have to be made about that. First of all, people have to make a choice with respect to the communism. Not only communism, but they have to struggle for this particular system. So it makes the previous model of dialectics questionable. That previous model was that of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So there is a thesis, and then it is countered by antithesis, and then some kind of solution comes, which might be considered as a synthesis. But that deterministic approach may not be adequate, and he considered it as inadequate. So, in his opinion, the clash between the two will inevitably lead to a new synthetic social form. So, these classes are going to clash with each other, and perhaps without this clash, the system is not going to change. So, he is looking into some kind of revolutionary approach for bringing communism in the future.